Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is the final part 6 of my mini-series, Are Your Life and Your Relationship Issues Fated? And this part 6 draws from Western psychodynamic astrology on the concept of nature versus nurture. Are we the result of our inherited nature that we come in with? Or are we the result of the earliest nurture encounter we make, the earliest environment we're born into? Now, in all my astrology readings, I absolutely always combine Western astrology, both psychodynamic and evolutionary Western astrology, with Vedic astrology. And the result in the reading, for you as an individual or your relationship, is a uniquely thorough and exceptional window into your life and future, and including definition and meditation on what is fated and what is the purpose for that incarnation into the fated scripts, and how we can develop healing and raise our spiritual consciousness, which is their divine purpose. So basically our nature, which is described by our Western astrology chart, our psychological egoic self, our nature, tends to be inherited characteristics that we come in with. Nurture, on the other hand, is the effect on us of our earliest upbringing environment. Nature versus nurture astrology clearly demonstrates to us answers to questions such as, what are the forces driving me? What are the routes to my developing and understanding myself? What are the gateways to my healing and empowerment? Sometimes the effect of our nurture, our earliest nurture environment, is actually to produce quite a different person from the nature we came in with, we were born with. Sometimes the change wrought by our earliest nurture environment could, in some ways or across the board, better equip us for our life. But more usually, the skewing effect of our earliest nurture environment actually puts us out of touch with qualities that we would have benefited from greatly, that are held within our inherited nature. Those are qualities which have now been overlaid or submerged by our nurture upbringing. And so a whole life script needs to be developed to overcome the challenge we have of a lost nature and the often unwanted effects of our nurture. This is a challenge of understanding, of course, and then it's a challenge of healing and transformation. Ultimately, it's a challenge of individuation to become the person we were born to be, to fulfill our fate and destiny, as Vedic astrology would declare it. In fact, in psychodynamic Western astrology, a separate, specialized birth chart can be erected to show the effect of our earliest nurture environment on our nature. So the chart which shows the effect of our nurture is called a house chart. This shows the effect on the person of his earliest upbringing environment, which can in fact completely skew his nature or completely cut him off from his nature, for good or ill. Now, our ordinary birth chart in Western astrology, called our natal chart, is the chart of our nature, and it has 12 signs of equal size. The 12 signs and the way the planets are distributed within them demonstrate our inherited nature. And in Western astrology, it's the 12 houses that are of unequal size in all but one of the house systems. However, in the house chart, the chart which shows the me created by our nurture environment that we were born into, in that house chart, it's the 12 houses that are of equal size. And it's the 12 signs that become of unequal size, because the whole emphasis is on houses, and the environment is declared by houses. So we can demonstrate and understand the difference to our nature by our nurture, by comparison of the two charts. Now let's mention a case study. So in this case study, Neptune, when it's in the house chart of the effect of the earliest nurture environment, is actually in an opposition aspect to the moon. It was not in that aspect in the birth chart. So, this so important declaration tells the man he will feel ever unsure about what he really feels, even deluded or confused, until he learns to disentangle the effects of his upbringing, rise above it, and stand in his strength. So planets in signs are inherited nature. Planets in houses are the effect of our nurture environment, especially our earliest upbringing environment. This is the nature versus nurture debate. So the question we have to answer is, who am I? Am I our nature or am I our nurture? And of course we can go on, indeed we must go on, from that psychological insight to transformation, to healing, to the development of raised spiritual awareness, to becoming more sattvic. Now, all my astrology readings and courses are attuned to the need to avoid sticking to legalistic, even disempowering astrological declaration, which you certainly get in both Western and Vedic astrology, the formula answers, but to use the declaration from Western astrology and Vedic astrology to achieve healing, to achieve empowerment, to achieve the special reason you incarnated to become in this lifetime. And in fact, I will mention, in psychodynamic Western astrology, there's a wonderful dynamic counting table which assesses and compares the effect of the earliest nature environment with the changes wrought upon the person by the earliest nurture environment. And it makes the assessment statement in relation to modalities and elements, which I define in a moment. So the dynamic counting table is the table that shows you the effect of your nurture, especially on your earliest upbringing environment, the effect of your nurture on your nature, which is your inherited makeup. So to understand this, what are the modalities and the elements? Well, the modalities are cardinal, fixed and mutable. So cardinal is extrovert, initiating, working and doing. Fixed is stabilizing, security, seeking, acquisitive. Mutable is restless, reflective, seeking, changeable. And the elements, well, they're fire, earth, air and water. So fire is vitality, spontaneity, intuitive faith in your abilities. Earth is practical, efficient, sensual, realistic, security consciousness. Air is communication, rational thinking, emotionally detached though. Water is feeling, sensitive, emotional and instinctive. So by looking at the person's dynamic counting table, and I do this in every reading I offer, whether it's single person or relationship reading, you can see at a glance if the person's upbringing or nurture made them, for example, far more cardinal they were born to be. In other words, they were stressed to get noticed by their earliest upbringing environments and to fill the gap they felt in love and attention. Now, a huge increase which will distort the way a person lives and stress them out and cause pressure on the adrenals is formed if you're made much more cardinal than you were born to be. And looking at a person's dynamic counting table in terms of elements, well, you might see that his earliest nurture environment put his fire out and increased his water greatly. In other words, his earliest nurture environment smashed, I was going to say decreased, even smashed his fire and will and his propensity for action. All those had a cold, deathly hand put on it in his earliest environment, his nurture environment. But because of this, his water, his intuition, his sensitivity was greatly increased as he tried to work out and understand what on earth were the distorting pressures that he had been born into. This is the sort of wonders that you get from nature versus nurture, and that's why I've included it in this 6-part mini-series under the title, Are Your Life and Your Relationship Issues Fated? It's so important to know, and then of course so important to heal, and in doing that raise our spiritual awareness. So to summarise the 6 parts, part 1 is the introduction, Are Your Life and Relationship Issues Fated? Part 2 is the Nakshatras, the 27 lunar signs, which so create a destiny. A wonderful statement. Part 3 is the dashas, the predictive periods. It's so important to know the one you're in, and especially the one you were born into or arrived into as a little kid. Part 4, the karikas, the indicators of Vedic astrology, focusing on the Dara karika. Who are you seeking in love? And the Atma karika. What are you impelled to experience in this life? And of course, if there's a disconnect between the two, you have to understand that and solve it. This one is nature versus nurture, and part 5 was sub-personalities. So all this is such important stuff to know. If you want a reading from me, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website. And if it's more the relationships, go to my Love Star Dating website. Indeed, if you're on a spiritual pathway and seeking love, join my Love Star Dating website. So as I say, I hope these little gems have been of great value and could even sow the seeds for needed, life change, healing and raising spiritual awareness. I look forward to hearing from you and to working with you. Thank you.